All right, guys. Welcome back, everyone. Very good morning. I hope I'm audible to all present in the class. Spring security is what we are exploring, and we need to explore more on that. Okay. Initially, we have discussed the defaults of Spring security dependency, and then we have tried to configure that. We have made our application stateless. We have disabled the default form. Application is stateless now, so there is no concept of cross-site request forgery. CSRF situation only will not come. Session ID is of no use because every request will be considered as the fresh new request. And every time to access any of the resources, you may have to send the credentials. That is what we have seen in the last class. Everyone agree with that? Yes, no, maybe. All right, let me just go back here. Also, guys, the DevOps course has been launched, and whatever you can see the course fees 11-12,000. If you are a part of Telesco, no, there is early bird discount which is Telesco 50. Use that and access that entire 4 months detailed course only for 50% off. Use Telesco 50 to enroll. Uh, okay, so you will be part of it. The code is Telesco 50. Okay, but this is not valid for long. Again, later, you should not be asking our team to give that coupon again and again. The course fees is already less. Even if you pay normal fees, it is very less. It might extend going forward. So the coupon code is Telesco 50 to get 50% off. And this is valid for less time. I am not sure when this will end. At the time of me telling this, it is 50% off for you guys. But maybe you are watching this in the recorded session after a few days, and at that time, I don't know what will be the price. The price will go up. Okay. I would like to just go back here. Guys, the course you can see here, you can visit courses.telesco.com. This is the course. All the details are there. Right now, the price is this, it will extend. And to this price, all of you can get 50% off. If you use the coupon, Telesco 50. Okay. It is for 4 months, starting from third weekend of January, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays. It is a live, no prerequisites for this course. No prerequisites. What are the major topics? Linux plus shell scripting, cloud computing with AWS, Git and GitHub, Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, Ansible, Terraform, SonarCube. Maven also will be discussed inside this course. Nexus also I will discuss. Who this course for? Everyone. It is for beginners also, working professionals also, even if you have a knowledge. And how the course is organized, that details are also mentioned here. Module 1, module 2, module 3, 4 and 5. And then some of the projects, interview tips, discussions, community discussions. Okay. And after the course is started, after attending first weekend, if you feel that this course is not for you, you can opt for the refund. Okay, 1 week of time is there. If you feel that this is not for you, then definitely you can opt for the refund. Our team will support for that. Okay, so you can share with your friends, guys. If you feel this is worth, you can share with your friends also. All of you can get for 50% off this, maybe around 5,999 or 6,000. You can get this entire course, and this is not for long. It is for specific time. The course will go to 17,999 after a few days. Okay, after the initial enrollments. Great. Let's continue the discussion, dear friends. Here is where we had stopped the discussion in the last class. Okay. I would like to go to the Spring Security project number 2, and this is what we all are discussing it. Correct? And yeah, I would like to go back and create one more service method here, one more simple service method which will save the student details. Okay, I mean the user's details. I'll go back to my service layer. I'll say right click, right click. I would like to create a class here. I will say here whatever is the class name, maybe I'll say here user service. Though create the interface, then create the class. All of you know the history, geography of this. I have created at the top of this class. Okay, at the top of this class, uh, it might recording will be available for the lifetime, guys. Recordings will be available for lifetime. No expiry of this course. As long as Telesco is there, recording is available. Python batch also Naveen sir might come because he's into AI from long time now, a few months. So Python might also come, but not yet sure. I'll say here, what is the name of the repository, guys, which we had created? It is I user repo. I will say I user repository type repository, and I'm going to use the auto wire here. I will say auto wire. Okay. Hmm. See, irrespective of where you are, doesn't matter. If you are into technology, Madhu, DevOps is going to be used everywhere. Even in future, if you want to get into AI, ML, data science, big data, see, a build and deployment process is not specific to one field, that is related to all the fields, and everyone must be knowing about it, or maybe that will be beneficial to get into any companies, any projects. Not specific to Java, not specific to Python, not specific to any one stack. Okay, so that is going to be helpful for you. If you say cloud, DevOps, you can make a switch to any role in that matter. I'll say public return type. I'll give it as what is the name of the entity, guys? Users. I'll say users. I would like to say register a new user. Users type user. As all of you know very well, I will say here return repo dot save. I'm going to save the user. It's very simplified business logic, guys. In order to save the new users, registration is what I am doing right now. What we have done so far is we have already stored some data in the table, and we were retrieving the data, and we were able to do the authentication. Right now I'm able to do here, I'm trying to create a API method which will store a new record, for which business logic method is very simplified. We have done that many of times. I'll go back to my REST API, and if you want, you can add here itself, or you can have a separate, what do you say, controller. It's up to you. I would like to go back here. However you feel like, guys. Maybe I'll go back here. I'll say new, create a class. Maybe I'll say here. Telescope controller, user controller, whatever you want, you can give the name. It's up to you. You are the boss. Okay. I would like to go back here. And of course, I will say here REST controller. REST controller. All good. I'll say here private. What is that? I have to auto wire user service, right? User service type service, which I will auto wire here. I will say here auto wire. Done. All good so far, dear friends, everyone? Yes, no, maybe. Create the API method. I'll say public. Maybe I'll just say here users. You should be doing the response entity. All that rules and regulation you can apply here. There is no problem. But the agenda here is simple. So I'd like to do it in this way. I will say here register. Register. New user. Whatever is the method name you want, you can give. And I would like to accept here users information type user. And of course, I have to bind this to which mapping, guys? It is to post mapping. Post mapping. And I will just give it as maybe add user is the endpoint. I would like to do this. Finally, I'll say here service dot register, and I'm passing the register. Whatever this will give me, I would like to return the same, because service method will give you the registration details. Same thing I'm returning to the caller of this method. So this type is by default right now. Since we have done so much of coding, it is there by default. Everyone? Yes, no, maybe. Any issues to anyone here? No issues, right? Great, great. So this is done. And I would like to just try to deploy my application now. Okay, and see if we could able to add. And if you want, you can have one more method. Okay, I would like to go back one more resource in the telescope only. So many resources there. I would like to remove those resources from there. Get, I'll say here course info. Okay, I would like to session ID and all is not needed for me. All of that I would like to close it. Yeah, I need not to have a hold of this. Very simple it is. Okay, so I would like to just go back here. I'll say right click and deploy my application. Application is getting deployed. And security is already implemented, guys. In the last class only we have implemented, and that too to all the resources. I would like to go back to my Postman tool. This is our Postman tool, guys. And Ramesh and Telescope 2, we do have it. If I have to click this, we are getting the information. I will say here course information. Course information, if I click, we are getting it. Telescope has launched DevOps with AWS course. And I'll go to the post request right now. And ID is not there. Okay. Name is there. Username and password. What is the name of the Pojo, guys, entity class? What are the fields name there? It is name and password. Okay, great. I'll go back to my Postman tool. I'll say add user. Please here, guys. Add user is the endpoint, right? 8080. Add user is the endpoint. Let me cross check. I would like to go to my Telescope controller. Add the user is the endpoint, and name and the password is what I have to pass here. Name, I'll give the name which is not there in the database already. For an instance, I'll go with Yash. And I would like to go with the password. I'll say here password. And please remember, guys, I'll go with telescope 45 is the password I have given here. Okay. I would like to click this. Oops, unauthorized. Why? I have gone here. Maybe this is not there in the database. I would like to go with the Ramesh and what is that? Telescope 2, I guess, right? Because for every resource, username and password is needed, without which it is not possible. All right. So I would like to now say here register. Oops, again, it is not taking it. Internal error. Uh, yes, 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 yes. Have you used the annotation here, guys? I would like to go back here to my Postman tool. Let me redeploy my application. DevTool is not there. So I have to reload my application. I'll go back to my Postman tool, guys. I think the username and password is same, right, my dear friends? What we have done here, Ramesh and Telescope 2. Ramesh and Telescope 2, great. And the body is sending this. So let me just hit the endpoint here. We could able to add the details. And if I have to open the database here, my dear friends, I would like to refresh and rerun this. We are getting Yash Telescope 4.5 also. And now I would like to, try to access any other resources using Yash and Telescope 4.5 information. I'll go back here and maybe I want to access the course information. I will say here as Yash, and I will say here the password as Telescope 4.5. I would like to just go back here. Telesco has launched the courses. I am able to do that. That means authentication is also happening there. However, guys, whatever password my end user is adding, the same password is getting stored as it is in the database. Are you able to see here? All the passwords have been stored as it is. Now, the question here is it acceptable? The question is very simple here. Is it acceptable? The answer is no. Passwords should not be stored as it is in the databases for the security reasons. You have to encrypt the password and then you have to store, for which lot of algorithms are there, lot of ways you can do cryptography. Again, the concept of key comes into picture. If someone takes your key, then the problem will occur. So there are many ways wherein you can encode your password. So I want to store my password with lot of encryption securely in the database, so that even if someone access this, they should not be able to understand or they should not be able to see the password. So encrypted password is what I may have to store in the database. Many of the algorithms are there. One of the algorithm which you can use is I would like to go back here. There is something called as bcrypt algorithm. Let me just go back to my Google. I will say here. Guys, are you able to see this? Bcrypt password generator from the browser link. I'll open this. Whatever is the password. For example, the password is Telescope. Telescope is the password. How many rounds of encoding you want? I'll say I want 12 rounds of encryption. I will say bcrypt it. See here, the pattern they have followed is 2A. You can change this also if you want. Okay. And 12 times the encryption will happen, the encoding will happen, and this password will be converted to this style. And no one can easily decrypt it. It's not possible to decode it. It is high level of encoding here. Fine. So one of the encoding is to go with the bcrypt, and Spring Boot by default supports this. If you want to implement bcrypt in your Spring Boot application, you need not to add something very extra. No extra dependency, no extra library, nothing you have to add. You just have to create the predefined classes, because Spring Boot by default supports the bcrypt algorithm for the encoding of your critical information. Now, what I'm going to do here is I would like to register something, but that should be registered in my database by properly encoding it. What do you mean by that? I would like to open my application and I would like to make some changes here. At the time of adding the password directly, I know want it. So I'll go back here at the top at the class level. I'll create the instance of bcrypt. Bcrypt. I'll say bcrypt password encoder. Password encoder type. Maybe the reference is bcrypt equals to new bcrypt. Bcrypt password encoder. And I want maybe 10, 12. How much rounds of encoding? I'll say 12. 12 means it's not directly 12, guys. It is 2 to the power of 12. I'll say a 12. And I would like to import it. Guys, did I added any extra dependency, extra library here to create the instance of bcrypt password encoder? Have you seen me adding something extra? By default, Spring Boot supports this. Making sense? Now I would like to use the reference of this. And what I'm going to do, please see very carefully. After my users give this no, I have two things here. User's name and user's password. Whether I want to bcrypt user's name or only password, guys. Only password, right? I will say here bcrypt dot encode. I will say encode. What you want to encode? I will say here whatever my user is entering. Whatever my user is entering, I will say user dot get password. That password I want to encode. And it will encode, and that encoded password I would like to store here. I will say here string type of encoded password. Right? Now, what I'm going to do here is I will say here user dot set password. This encoded password I'm going to add it. Now, guys, whenever you add new data, old data will be vanished. Right now, inside the user object where my end user has entered the details, in the password, whatever my user has entered, that password as it is available or it is encoded version. It is encoded version. And that encoded version is what I'm going to store here right now. All good, everyone present in the class? Yes, no, maybe. Any issues to anyone, guys? No issues. All good. I would like to just save this information. I would like to say here, please do save this. After saving this information, I would like to just redeploy my application. Unfortunately, DevTool is not added, and auto reload sometimes I don't trust also. I would like to just redeploy my application. Application is redeployed. I would like to just go back to my Postman tool. I would like to add a new details. First of all, with these details, am I able to fetch information? Yeah, I'm working fine. The other things are working as per the expectation. And I would like to add the new details here. For an instance, I'll say here Suresh, and the password I have told here telescope 44. Telescope 44 is the password. I would like to go and say add. Guys, whatever password you're getting back, are you able to see here? 2A is the pattern, 12 rounds of encoding, and this is the encrypted password. It is coming back from the database, by the way, because the save method will store the data and fetch from the database the new record which is getting stored. Same data from the service layer I had given to the controller layer. From the controller layer, same data I'm giving to the end user. If I have to open my MySQL, guys, and if I have to refresh this, are you all able to see here? Suresh information, the password. Yes, no, maybe. All good. Any issues to anyone in the class? Then very good question from the Suresh. Right now, if I give Suresh information at the time of login to access any other resources, will it take it as it is, or do I have to do some gimmick there? Automatic decryption will happen, or I do may have to make some changes is the question. I would like to go back, guys, to my Postman tool. With the help of Suresh information, Suresh telescope 44, right? I will say because end user will enter the direct password. He will not enter this password. I will say Suresh 44. The moment if I have to do this, am I getting the result? Am I getting the result? So what to do for that? I have to write a code wherein I have to inform that this time password encoder had been used. For the authentication, you should also use this password encoder only then. How to do that? Only one small change you have to do. I'll go back to my configuration, Spring Security configuration, my dear friends. In the configuration, if you could remember here, I had told what is the password encoder being used. No of password encoder. I had not used earlier. Right now, I'm using it. I will say here dot dot dot. I will say here set password encoder. And what is the password encoder we have used, guys? It is new. I'll say here bcrypt. Bcrypt password encoder. Password encoder. How many rounds of encryption we had achieved? Same thing you have to do here also. This is the encryption I have done. See here, I have added this. Nothing apart from this. One small change. I'll go back here, right click, run as the Java application. Since I have used here, guys, since I have used here this, if I right now try to log in with normal, I know elements example, what is that I had given here? Yash, right? 4 5. If I try to log in with this, it will not work because the password is not decrypted. See here, it will work only with Suresh and Suresh 44. Why? Because this password only stored in encrypted way. I would like to try to access. See, I'm able to access. Apart from Suresh, other passwords are stored as it is in the databases. And in the authentication code, I have told at the time of doing the authentication, consider bcrypt algorithm for the password and do the authentication. But for other passwords, it is not being implemented. So only you are not able to access the resource apart from Suresh. I'll add a new record here maybe. I would like to add new information about the Suresh. For example, I will say here Aditya. Aditya. And I'll say here telescope maybe 5 4. Okay. I would like to go back here and say add the user. But before adding the user, authentication I have to provide. Only Yash information will work. I'll say Yash. Not yes, sorry. Suresh information. Suresh. And what is that, guys? Telescope 4 4, I guess. I would like to hit this end point. See, Aditya's information is also added. And what is the information added here? 5 4, right? I'll go back and access apart from Suresh Aditya also. I'll say here Aditya is a username and the password is 4 5 or 5 4 5 4. It will also work right now. See, I'm getting it. All of you are getting it. Everyone present in the class. Yes, no, maybe. Anyone and everyone. Huh. Great. Hmm. So if I have to open the database and check if all of them have been stored, three informations with the bcrypt algorithm, guys. Totally, there are two passwords which are stored with the bcrypt algorithm. Now, no one can access this. Even if they access, they cannot understand anything here. They cannot understand anything. And the code is not so difficult to implement the bcrypt. For the authentication is also very simple. And even to encode the password is also very, very simple. So using the bcrypt for the authentication time also it is very easy. One line code you have to add. Even at the time of doing the encryption is also not so much of code you have to write. By default, Spring Boot supports this bcrypt password encoder using which you can encode and store your password into database very, very securely, which is really good here. Fine, dear friends, all of you. Yes, no, maybe. Hmm. Great. I'll try this. If not in JWT tomorrow, I will do. But I'll give a try for one more thing. Okay. Because I could not able to recall fully the line here. In the JW time, I'll do that. I want anyone to add. See, the resource to add a new record into database For that, you need not to enter the username and password. I want that particular resource to be used by anyone and everyone, even if they are not part of this. That means some of the resources I have to make sure that anyone can access without username and password. Right now, even for the registration purpose, you have to first do what, guys? Even for the registration purpose, you may have to do what? You have to give the username and password, even for the registration purpose. So anyone cannot register directly, and I want to have I want some of the resources to be accessed by anyone and everyone, and other resources only if you could able to log in. Okay, I'll just see here. I'll say here http dot authorized. We have this method called as authorize. Okay, I'll go back. Say dot authorize request. Authorize HTTP request. It is not deprecated also, guys, because most of the things are deprecated here. Authorize HTTP request. Give the implementation of the customizer here, for which I'll say here authorize HTTP request customizer. This much of big variable is not needed. I'll say here authorize HTTP. Only this much variable sufficient using the lambda expression. I will say here this is what I'm expecting. Authorize HTTP request dot I'll say dot I'll say request matches we have here. String patterns I would like to give. Request matches, how much ever you want you can give. And I'll go back to my controller. What is the controller? Telescope controller. And I want this to be accessed by everyone. Then I'll go back to my configuration, and I would like to just within the double quotes, I would like to just add this. This particular endpoint anyone can access. I will say here, after which I would like to say a dot permit all for all dot any type of request. That request type could be any type, post, delete, whatever it could be. Okay. Dot I'll say authenticated. Please authenticate it. That's the meaning of it. I would like to end it. That means any request coming to this end point, they need not to give the username and password. That means this particular resource can be accessed by anyone and everyone. Okay. Now I would like to redeploy this application. Let me redeploy. Remember, configurations are always one-time setup. And I would like to go back to my Postman tool. And of course, to get this access, I may have to log in. It's all fine. I'm able to get it. Right now, guys, I want to register a new details. For an example, I will say here Pramod. And Telescope, I'll say here 34 is the password. And I'll go to the authorization, guys. I'll say no auth. No auth means am I giving any username and password, guys? Am I giving any username and password? Did I add any headers? No, only directly body. And I'll hit this. See, I'm able to get it. That means some of the resources can be accessed by anyone. The answer is yes. But for other resources, example, I want to access this, you have to have a username and password. I'll say here example Pramod 34 is what I'll give here. And now if I just hit this, I'm able to get. That means Pramod is working fine here. All right, guys. Everyone in the class. So this is about we have now disturbed the existing behavior of Spring Security and given our own configurations, which is storing the password in encrypted way. And also at the time of authentication, it is able to decode the encrypted password and do the authentication. All right. So this has been done. Authentication very well. And the password is also getting stored here. So some of the resources anyone can access, few resources only with the credentials you can access. All this we have seen it. And now it's time to understand about the token-based authentication. Token-based authentication I'll discuss in the tomorrow's class, which is JWT. I'll do one thing in today's class. I'll maybe discuss about the OAuth 2. Guys, Telescope website also, any other website also these days, 90% of the websites, are they able to allow you for the registration and login using the third party applications? Yes, right. Example, if you want to visit an application, okay, a third party application you want to visit, which is Telescope application, first of all, you want to visit. If you're making request to Telescope, there is an option of signing and registration. You don't want to give the information. They'll also give the option, can I access the third party like Google, Facebook, GitHub, whatever it is, Instagram? Can I give you authority to access some of the resources? And to verify you need not to give the information. I'll ask them. So based on this, if you click, they will go to the server of Google or whatever you have specified, and they will not give all the information. Google has every information. They'll give a limited information which is required for the authentication, only username and password or some of the information. Sometimes you'll give allow Google to access your contacts or more information. Also, Google has all your information. You can, if they are trying to see, I want to authenticate this user, please give some information about this user, they will give minimal information to you. Based on the information coming from the Google, they are able to give you access. Have you come across with something as such? And this is what we call it as OAuth. Yes, no, maybe. Hmm. So you are able to do the authentication using third party credentials. Not, you're not going to register there directly. You want to go with the third party. You have already given some information to them and you want to go with them, the trusted one. And that particular application will go to them and say that, look, this user is want to know, get connected to me to access some of the resources. Whether if it's a valid user, please do the authentication. Based on that, it will allow you to get into the application. So I want to develop this application. It's not so difficult. I'll go back to my Spring Initializer, and I'll say here Maven project, Java project, latest versions. I will say com.telescope. Okay. And I'll say here O auth security application. Okay. And I would like to go back and add to create some resources, web dependency. The remaining part all will remain same, guys. It's Spring Security is all about giving security to the APIs, to the resources. The backend logic you are writing, not all of that will not be affected. Okay. And I would like to say here, OAuth. Are you able to see, guys? OAuth client. Spring Boot integration for Spring Security, OAuth, OpenID, Connect, and client features. I would like to add this. Spring Security separately I have not added. Only OAuth I have added here. I will just generate this. It is generated, guys. I'll go back here. I'll go back to my application, and I would like to just go back to somewhere my downloads. Where is the downloads? I would like to take this project data. I would like to add this project here. Right click, I'll say extract it. It is extracted. After it is extracted, I would like to just delete this project. Go back here, right click, import the existing Maven project. Tomorrow, JWT, guys, you have to understand very carefully. That is not as easy as what we have done so far. I'm importing the project. It is done. The project is successfully imported. All good, everyone? I'll open this project. You can see the dependency. I'll just go here and create one resource, any resource in that matter, guys, whatever resource you want. I'll say here, create one package called as REST. It could be, it's nothing called as basic or something here. Resource is a resource. Whether it is giving you full-fledged or normal doesn't matter. I'll say here maybe there is co-controller. I would like to go back and say here REST controller. Import it. Create some resources. I'll say public string type of get course info. I will say a return. I will say here Telescope has launch DevOps with AWS course. I would like to go back here and say get mapping. I would like to go back here and say endpoint as the information. Okay, some resources there. Doesn't matter what resource. I'll go back here, guys, and I want you to understand. I have added the dependency only OAuth 2. I have not added Spring Security dependency, which we have added in our earlier applications. Here, I have added the dependency only OAuth 2. You can see here, guys. OAuth 2 client is what I have added. Spring Security separately I have not added. Okay, I want you to observe here. I'll go back here, right click. I'll say run as the Spring Boot application. It is deployed. I'll go back to my browser. I'll say 8080. I will say here, what is the resource name, guys? Info, right? I will hit this. Guys, even if I hit, are you getting this form? So even in the OAuth 2 by default, you're getting this. Yes, no, maybe. I know on this, I have to disturb the existing behavior. How to disturb, guys? You know very well. I'll go back here and create a new class. I will say security config is the name of the class. Let that be in the package called as config package. I'll say a config package. And I would like to go back here. Yes, Rajat. I would like to go back here. And here I would like to say here configuration. There also you have to give the credentials, only then it will work. There will be something called as keys, tokens there. Without the tokens, they cannot access. Okay. And now, which is the class I have to verify, guys? Which is the class I have to disturb? Which we have seen in the last example also. Security, filter, chain. I'll say here filter chain. And I should get hold of HTTP security. Type HTTP. I would like to go back here. I would like to import this. And now I'll say HTTP. I'll say a return HTTP dot build. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Arey babu. Unhandled exception. It seems your my series mad. Okay. I'll say here exception. I would like to import this. Guys, now I have changed the existing behavior. I will say here bean. And of course, you have to go back at the top and you have to say here enable web security. Now, will there be form available, guys, right now? Yes, no, maybe. What is the annotation we have to use here? I'll say here enable. web security. It is there. Now I would like to redeploy the application, guys. Redeploy the application because existing behavior have changed. The form will not be available right now. I'll go back here and try to access the resource. The resource is info. The resource is info. If I have to click this, I'm able to get this without the form right now because the existing behavior of security I have changed. Now to implement OAuth, here you need not do much. You just have to go here and I will say here http dot authorized http request. I'll say here maybe authorize whatever is the reference variable. I'll say here authorize dot any request dot authenticated. I'll say here dot there is something called as o dot o. Okay, authenticated dot we are not getting directly here. Okay, I think I'll go back here outside. I'll say dot o auth. Yes, auth. All others are deprecated. There is something called as OAuth to login. I would like to click this and customizer implementation you have to give here. So I'll say here customizer customer dot with defaults. My configuration part is over. Now the real game comes into picture. If you want to give this authentication through the Google, through the Gmail, then go to the browser. I would like to go to my browser, not this. Yes. Guys, I'll go back. I'll go back here. I'll go back here. You have to just search Google Cloud Console. Google Cloud Console. Click this Google Cloud Platform. There is something called as APIs and services. APIs and services. For the first time, if you are visiting, you have to go with OAuth consent screen also. I have done that already. I'll go back to the credentials. Directly go to the credentials. If not, OAuth consent screen is there. Please do that. Some basic information next step. And then come to the credentials. Okay. And after which so many other credentials are there, which I've done for the multiple batches. I'll say here, create the credentials. OAuth client ID is what I want to create. I'll say what is the application type. It is a web application, I guess. Yes, it is a web application. Name of the application, whatever name you want to give. It's anything of your own choice. Web client 6. I'll say sample web app. Sample web app is what I have given. Add the URL. You have to add some basic URL here. Okay. I would like to go back here. I'll say here, add the URL or add the redirect URIs, authorize JavaScript. Either here you have to add or here or here. You request for the web servers. Okay, let me add here itself. Guys, I would like to just go here. Localhost, wherever your application deployed. Login, OAuth 2, code Google. I will say create. After I said create, guys, you can see client ID and the client secret is there. Copy that client ID. I have copied this. After I copied, I'll store somewhere in my notepad. This is the client ID, guys. I'll go back to my browser. I'll copy the client secret. This is needed. After this, I'll go back and I'll keep it ready somewhere. By chance, if that screen is going, I have kept it. Okay. Now I'll go to my application dot properties of my application. I'll open this. I'll go to application dot properties, and here some properties are there which you have to add. Some keys are there. That key is, let me get it from the Google. Allow me a minute, guys. OAuth consent key is what I have to get it. OAuth Spring Security for Spring Boot application client ID, and this is what I needed. The property name is what I'm getting it, guys. Allow me a minute of time. Yes, this is the property name. This is the property name. I will say here equal to. I will change the key. I will not give you this application, guys, because due to security reasons, I'll not be giving the key. After the applications is done, I would like to just, I have kept it already, but since it's already open, I would like to use from here directly itself. And I would like to add this value. Then I would like to go back here, use the same once again. I would like to add here. And in place of client ID, I will say here client secret. Client secret equals to, okay, client secret equals to, I'll go back to my browser and I would like to copy from here. I would like to say okay, get back to my application and I would like to add it. I would like to save this. I have saved it. After saving, guys, I would like to go back. I'll deploy my application. My application getting deployed. Application deployed. I'll go back here to my browser right now. Any of the browser of your own choice. I'll go back here. Info. Let me close this. Open. I will add. If I hit this endpoint, am I getting this option, guys? Choose an account to log in. Yes, no, maybe. Everyone. If I choose any of the account, if I say continue, I'm able to get the resource. Is it able to do that? The answer is yes. Not just this, you can do with others also. Okay. Others in the sense I'm referring to any other website. Example, I want to go with the GitHub. If you want to go with the GitHub, same thing, I will take it from here. I would like to copy. And for example, GitHub I want to do. Wherever Google is there, no. I will say here GitHub. I'll say GitHub. And the client secret here also I will say I want to go with GitHub also. Multiple options I want. And of course, the username and password is hold good for only Google, not for the GitHub. I will be logging to my trial GitHub account, guys, which I had created. Google. I will say here GitHub login, which I had created from my new email ID. Only for this purpose, I had saved the username and passwords. Okay, all right. We have settings. Okay. Guys, after you logged into your GitHub account, what is your GitHub account? You have, after you logged in, go back there. There is something called as settings. Click on settings in your GitHub account. There is something called as developer setting. I'll click on developer setting. And there's something called as OAuth app. I'll click on OAuth app and I'll say new OAuth app. I'll say here web app. Whatever the name of this application you want, you can give. Homepage URL. I would like to add this. This is the basic URL. Whatever description, if you want, you can add it. And the callback URL, exact URL you have to give it. Okay. I would like to add here. See, localhost 8080 login OAuth code GitHub. I will say register this application. I'll say register the application. It is registered, guys. And after it is registered, I will say update this. Yes, it is registered. Okay. Generate a new client secret is there here. This is the client ID, guys. Client ID, I would like to take it from here. I would like to go back to my application and the client ID, I would like to add it here. I would like to add it here. Client ID is added. And now I have to add the client secret. Client secret, if I have to add, I will say a request a new client secret. The client secret is generated. I would like to copy here, and that secret key, I'll go back to my application, and I would like to just add this secret key here. Okay. I would like to just save this. It is saved. Because of this security and all, I'm using such account which I don't use very often, because this client's details I'm storing, and something should not happen to me and my private. So I would like to just go back here, guys. I would like to deploy my application. Once I deploy my application, I'll go back to the browser. All right. I'll go back to my browser. I'll just go back here, search this. I'll hit this enter key, guys. I'm getting both the options here. Are you able to see? Log in with OAuth 2, GitHub, and Google. I would like to go with the Google. I'm getting the option of any account. I'm able to log in. I'm able to get it. It will happen for the GitHub also, Google also. You have multiple options. Are you all getting it? First of all, what is OAuth? Have you understood, guys? Everyone in the class? So for the developer settings, the creators, they have to give these keys, only then it will work. So since I have to share with you, I'll be making some changes in the keys, which the application I'm going to share with you, so that the inky ponky donkey things should not happen. Okay. Whatever these keys are there, it will not work for you guys. Don't try to execute this program and see it is not working for you. You have to, how to create it, I have shown. How to generate this client ID, how to generate this client secret, I have shown. After the class, if you want, you can rewatch and create it and check if it is working for you also. Okay. Yeah. Great, guys. Now, the most important part again is the token based authentication. I'm not talking about the CSRF token, which is by default generated by the Spring Boot backend. I'm not asking about this. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about the JSON Web Token, JWT. How to generate the token? First part is, for the first time, if someone gets into our application, I'll make sure that I'll create one more endpoint. That one more endpoint which I'll be creating is to log in. And I will make sure in the Spring security configuration that for the registration and login, anyone can access that resources. These two resources of registration and login can be accessed by any end user, not specific to one or two end users. And later, other resources, they have to log in. For the first time, if someone is logged to the application, in the back end for that particular user, I will write the code which will generate JWT token. And the second duty which we have to do is, for the other resources, they have to pass the bearer token, the JWT token they have to pass. I have to take the token and verify whether the token is correct or not. How to do the token verification, how to do the token generation. So two things we have to achieve in tomorrow's class, wherein you have to focus more on the process. Token generation part is the part 1, and token verification is the part 2. And if you could able to do that, that means we can say token based authentication is successful. And whatever we have discussed so far till tomorrow's class, I have developed one application with the help of our team, wherein everything which I have discussed so far, I have implemented there. One full-fledged application. Front end is also there. It's up to you whether you want to use that front end or not. Back end part, whatever we have discussed, right, including the Spring security, I have implemented in that project, including the logging also. I have implemented that project. I will show you, if possible, tomorrow's class. If not, in day after tomorrow's class, a walkthrough of that project. You can take that project. You can take whatever projects we have done in our classes. And I want also you to, create your own projects by considering these projects handy in front of you. generate some ideas. So tomorrow or day after tomorrow's class, I will show you that project. I'll give you walkthrough about that project also. Okay, that what all things are there. And two of the backend developers in the Telesco. We have actually 5 or 4 Spring Boot developers in Telesco. Two of them have done that task actually. I will ask those two to show maybe if they can come. If not, I will only give you the walkthrough of that project. Okay. Many functionalities I have implemented there. Many functionalities. They have done a lot of efforts. I would like to give you walkthrough about this. Consider that as an example to create some more projects by your own. Okay. One more project which is e-commerce, which is also the videos of that project is available from Naveen sir. I will share you that also. For this new project of tourism management, I will just give you the quick walkthrough. You will not see something which we have not discussed there. Some advanced concepts are also implemented there. Okay. That's all for tomorrow's class, guys. Today's class, guys. Tomorrow, JWT token. If time permits, I'll discuss Redis server with the Spring Boot. Day after tomorrow, multi-DB configuration. If time permits, Redis server and Spring Boot. And Monday onwards, I'm going to start with microservices. Upcoming Monday, the microservices classes will start from absolute scratch again. The prerequisite is Spring Boot. So microservices classes are for the Spring Boot developers who know Spring Core, who knows RESTful services. Those who know RESTful services, only they can understand the microservices starting from the Monday's class. DevOps course coupon code is there, guys. For you guys only, for short period of time, it is Telescope 50 for 50% off based on the current price. This price will go up to 18,000 after few days. 18,000, even if you apply Telescope 50, it will be 9 or 10,000 for you. Right now, 12,000, and if you apply 50%, maybe you'll get 5,999 for the entire course. Telescope 50 is the code. Okay. You will get that code base also, of course, yaar. You will be getting that, Rajat Patel. E-commerce also you will be getting it. The tourist management also you will be getting it. Other code files which we have done in our live class, that also I have already been shared. So Rajat Patel, you will get, it is not specific to certification. AWS will be covered as a real-time backend developer, as a real-time senior backend developer or DevOps engineer. Whatever AWS knowledge you need in order to work in day in and day life, I would like to cover that topics. But it will be clarified and simplified in a way that with the help of some extra practice questions and some extra services, you can clear your AWS exam. You will get enough of clarity. But this is not specific to exam based only solution architect AWS content. Okay. You can clear the solution architect also. But some extra things you have to put the efforts. Practice is needed. Some exam papers you have to practice, and 1 or 2 services you may have to learn. You can clear it. One project we will do above. At the last, we will do one project there also. It is hands-on based, Rajat. If you're already certified, then you will be getting the DevOps knowledge. It is more focused on DevOps plus AWS. AWS is what is needed as a day in and day out life, and for a DevOps engineer, how much is required. For a backend engineer, what knowledge is required. Based on that, AWS has been considered. Because only knowing the DevOps tool and not having the clarity of any of the cloud, it is not so competitive. To make yourself competitive, some more focus will be on the DevOps tool. It's a DevOps course with AWS. So even if you are AWS certified, you can have the acknowledgement of your AWS knowledge, plus you'll get the knowledge of DevOps. DevOps in the sense, I'm covering Docker, Jenkins, Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible, SonarQube for the code review, Linux commands, and some basic shell scripting. Guys, the content details have been given here. You can also give a walkthrough about it. I'm not sure, Vishal. Even though if the 50% is available, Vishal, the course price will go up. It will not be 12,000. Even suppose if 50% is applicable for you, since you are an existing student, you can request our WhatsApp team. You can ask to give 50% off. They may give you because you are an existing student. But by the time the course fees will be 16,000 or 18,000. Thank you, Suresh. That project teams are not active also, Madhu, unfortunately. We saw people are not even involving, so it is very sad state. All right. Allow me a minute of time, guys. It will be more of the hands-on only. Rajat Patil, even for the Linux commands, I'm going to use AWS EC2 only. From there itself, I'm going to start. This will be fulfilled. Don't worry, okay? I'm sure, guys, that is old, Zara. I have done with the other company. Me and Navin sir was working with some other company. There I have done the React. It's been 2 years. But for your batch, some other trainer has done it. I'll ask our team to add that React content. Okay. And the entire course, of course, will be for limited seat, guys. Not just for this. Any course in Telesco, we will have a limited people only. Naveen sir never likes bulk audience. Okay. As you can see from the day one till day last, all of you who are chatting, I can read your names. That many enrollments are only there. For after some time, we ask them to join the new batch coming up because every time we launch a new batch. So we don't want so many people to come up. We actually lock after certain limits, after certain registration. We say, let's have a new batch. We can't handle more. Because if not, suppose right now I'm getting all of your replies. In place of that, if I get some 150 and 200 replies, I cannot read your questions only. I cannot fulfill the requirement only which you have. Yes, no's are good. It will show some interaction and energy, but not what do you say? Thank you, Pramod. All right, guys, we shall meet tomorrow. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, what is the agenda, guys? Three applications we have to complete: JWT, Redis server with Spring Boot, and multi-DB configuration. If you could able to do these three applications, Monday microservices, and under the microservices, whatever the left out topics also we will be covering it under the no umbrella of microservices. The other topics we will try to cover it. Okay. Thank you guys. We shall meet tomorrow exactly at 7 a.m. and continue the discussion for the week. Thank you, every one of you.